God damn, how many of these have I done in the past month? Hi everyone, Donut here, and we're gonna do something on this channel that I've never done before, and that's expose a dirty, filthy, rotten liar. Wait, I have done that like 5 times in the past month. Before we get into this video, let's go over Pen v. Mem real quick. Oh, just give me 1 second. We're gonna go ahead and Google it here. The Supreme Court of the United States of America stated that if an officer asks you or tells you to get out of your car on a traffic stop, that you must, by law, get out of your vehicle. It doesn't matter if you're a sovereign citizen, Moorish, or just a fucking idiot. You gotta get out of your car. With a whopping 4.33 million views, 83,000 retweets, and 132 likes, here's what we're looking at today. At 4:40 p.m. on the 22nd of May, Twitter user @Ellie_Graham posted this. A cop follows us into my boyfriend's driveway and claims it is because we have a brake light out. The cop calls back up immediately. He proceeds to viciously pull him out of the car for absolutely no reason. I was forced to sit in the car until another cop came and detained me. By God, someone said this on the internet. It must be true. Well, about 132,000 people liked it, so it's gotta be true. It was watched 4.3 million times. That means that it is also true. Let's roll the video and watch as this female and her boyfriend Elkanah Odembo is assaulted violently for no reason by this police officer.
Record this. I'm at my house, bro.
Get out of the vehicle.
Record this. Record this. No, bro, I'm not. Record this.
Sir, why does he need to step out of the vehicle?
I'm at my house.
Because he's not cooperating with me. He keeps trying to get out of the vehicle.
No, I'm not.
No, he's not. He's sitting here next to me.
I'm sitting here right now.
Get
record this.
Sir,
I'm asking you to step out of the vehicle.
I'm at my house. I'm at my house, sir. I'm trying to get into my house.
Quick point I want to make here that just because you're in your driveway or in front of your home, it doesn't mean an officer can't initiate a traffic stop on you, detain you, or even arrest you. This isn't tag or hide and go seek. You can't jump out of your car and scream home base and expect the police officer just to drive off.
I'm trying to get into my house.
I don't care. Get out of the vehicle.
Bro, which charge are you pressing me against? What charge?
You're being detained right now. Get out of the
What
vehicle.
Sir,
charge?
why is he being
What
detained?
charge? What charge?
You got a brake light out. You're not being
That's not a
cooperative.
charge.
We
I'm at my
are being
house.
cooperative. We
matter.
are
You're
being
just
I'm at my house,
cooperative.
Get out of the vehicle.
No.
Sir, we
You have
are
no
being
right.
cooperative.
You need a
Sir,
search warrant.
we are
You're
being.
harassing me. I'm suing you.
Sir,
Go ahead.
That was like the trifecta of dumb shit you can read on the internet and then regurgitate to a police officer on a traffic stop. He said, you have no right to do this. You need a search warrant and you're harassing me. I'm going to sue you. All 3 of which are wrong. This is a traffic stop. You're being detained. This is the United States of America. Therefore, Pennsylvania versus Mims is in full effect, and you have to get out of your car when the officer tells you to, regardless if you're on your property or not. Mr. Odembo in this video seems like one of the people who are commenting below this video, a bunch of internet and Facebook attorneys.
Sir, we are being cooperative.
Bro, look at this shit. You
Sir,
see this?
We're being cooperative.
You see this shit?
Sir,
Get out of the car.
you said our brake lights out and we're gonna.
We're at the house
I
now.
asked
We're
him to
not
step out of the
driving.
vehicle.
Okay,
We're not
Ellie, just step
driving.
out. You
Get out of
don't,
the car.
Ellie, just step out of the
Bro,
car for a
I'm not
second.
doing it in no handcuffs,
Get
bro.
out of the car.
Okay,
right now.
Ellie,
Bro,
just step
get
out.
off me.
Ellie,
Get your
Ellie.
hands off me. Get your hands off me.
I'm not taking my hands
Bro,
off.
get your
out of the
hands.
car.
I'm not
Why-
going nowhere
I
until
don't-
your hands.
Get out of the car.
But I'm
What are
gonna
you-
sue you, bro.
Go
You're
ahead,
on,
do it.
bro.
Why are
You're on my property, bro. This is mine, bro.
I don't care.
This
Get
is
out of
my
the car.
property. No, bro.
Get out of the
Ellie,
car.
Ellie,
bro.
Ellie,
No,
Ellie,
I'm not going
Ellie,
nowhere, bro.
Ellie,
I'm
let's
not
just
going
Ellie
nowhere,
step
bro.
out of the car. Ellie,
Let go of the steering wheel.
I also want to point out that the original poster, the female who's sitting in the passenger seat, said that he was viciously pulled out of the car. Do you think anyone is going to viciously pull his big ass out of anything? Before he is viciously pulled out of his car, you can hear him say, I'm going in my house, bro. Move, move.
I'm going out the car. I'm going in my house.
Ellie,
Get
just.
in the car.
Move.
Oh my God. Ellie, Ellie, Ellie.
He ended up fighting with the officer for a little while, punching the officer in the face, running inside the house and barricading himself inside before backup had to arrive, go in the house, and tase his ass. The Chesterfield County Police Department stated that they do have body camera footage of the entire incident, which hasn't been released yet, but we have a nice big statement from that department. It turns out that the traffic stop was initiated because the driver had a busted taillight, and also because there were reports of the 2 in the car yelling and gesturing things at school buses. The The police department also stated the driver did not have his ID, and the officer began to take his information. The driver said he didn't see a problem and attempted to exit the vehicle, and the officer told him to stay in the vehicle. The driver continued to not cooperate with the officer, so the officer told the driver he was being detained and asked him to step out of the vehicle. The driver then refused to exit the vehicle. The officer repeatedly directed the driver to exit the vehicle and attempted to remove the driver from the vehicle. The driver resisted, and that's when the viral video cuts on. And that's where we get into the 19-year-old suspect tried to flee. The officer caught up with him. There was an altercation. The officer ended up getting a small injury, and then he ran in the house where officers had to go in and tase him. In the end, he ended up being charged with assault on a law enforcement officer and 3 counts of obstruction of justice with force. One of my favorite parts about incidents like these are the comments below where I can go and laugh at people. One little conversation in particular I want to talk about is an exchange between a friend of mine on Twitter and some lady who is supporting this guy saying the police can't do that. This is an exchange between one of my Twitter friends at Shit I Hear on Duty and at Danielle21. He was simply trying to explain to her that she's wrong. He says, "You're wrong. Supreme Court says if you do not get out when asked, it's obstruction of justice. Stop teaching ignorance." She says, "I'll remind your mother not to teach ignorance to your children like she did to you." Earlier in the conversation, he had mentioned something about Pennsylvania versus Mims, so she made the comment below, "You didn't mention Supreme Court. You mentioned Penn versus Mims. Get your facts right before coming with 2 different statements." This is a perfect point to make that most of the people who argue against police officers in the comments of a lot of these have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. As you can see here, she's like, "Hey, you mentioned the Supreme Court, not Pennsylvania versus Mims." I told you guys that the people who spread shit like this on the internet aren't the smartest of people. I would say don't even argue with them, but then we wouldn't have little pieces of gold like this. Before we end the video, I wanted to show you guys a tweet of something kind of neat from Trooper Guy Gill, who is the Public Information Officer for the Washington State Patrol District 1. In his tweet, he says, "A driver saw a small black object in the air while driving on I-5 and it struck the front of his car. He drove about 18 miles, stopped for gas, and found this." One of my favorite comments on this picture comes from Twitter user at Dark Secret Place. "It's the annual migration of the Springfield XDs. Slow down, people." Everyone, that's all I have for you today. If you want to support the channel, you can go to patreon.com/donutoperator or buy some super sweet merch from donutoperator.com. I want all of you to have a fantastic day and a very safe weekend. I'm going to end this with a very, very important announcement from Eli Doubletap and Matt Best.
Donut's mustache makes me moist.